Hold on, I can't hear you. I'm losing you. I can't hear you.
Uh,
There you go.
okay. It's good that we've reconnected after all these years.
Yeah, it is,
Hey,
man.
you know what the difference is, man?
What's the difference?
Your beard is white and so is mine.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and I just grew it out.
So man, look, man, this conversation that we're about to have is a very important one, and thank you for bringing it to this audience, because I don't think there's anybody who even understands the magnitude of the conversation that you and I are about to have.
Yeah, it's you know it's one of those things where when I talk about it, people don't believe it. People say, well, it's not in the news, it's not really happening, and then I'll get you know an email in the middle of the night. They took all my money, or like where it's just like somebody's house is burning down, and or they had a friend or relative where it happened to them, and then they're like, I can't believe that they can do this to them.
So how long ago did they make this possible?
Well, if you want to know how long ago, it's been since the 70s.
Oh,
But
really?
yeah, but here's the thing: is that it's been what do we call it? Our norms, like we said, our norms
Right,
with the how the president is going outside of the norms.
right.
Over the years, I would say probably since the housing crisis, the norms have been taken away or blurred to where these companies felt emboldened, where they was like, hey, well, maybe we could get a judge to to do this. Like one of the companies had to put it to a test to see what would happen, because before that, from my research, judges would just refuse. They would just say, yes, you do have a right to do that, but they would just like, let's try to figure out other ways. No one needs to be getting arrested over a debt. And but over time, I guess, different judges come in with different mindsets. Big business, you know, rules, and the norms started getting blurred, and now it's really at an alarming rate. Uh, I'm going to mention uh, a book called A Pound of Flesh from the ACLU, where they showed in one rural county, I believe it was in Missouri, where the citizens, it's just like a regular routine that they have to show up to court each week to say how they're going to pay a debt, even if they have the money or not.
Okay, so we're gonna do this on the air. You
Okay.
want me to introduce you as the owner of Blue Book, or what? What do you
No,
want me
no,
to
put
add?
it as summons master. We've transitioned from Blue Book.
Okay,
Yeah,
so what do you want? What is the title?
just the I put it typed it in on there. It has the president and founder, or just say founder of Summons Master.
Founder of Summons
Master AI.
Master. Okay, the founder of Summons Masters.
Yeah,
Okay, all right,
master with no not an S at the end, and it's
Master.
yeah
Okay,
because this is a service that's came about to help people in
okay,
this.
I got you. I got. We're getting ready to come on.
All right.
All
Yep.
right. All right, welcome back to the Earl Ingram Show. As always, you can join us at 855-752-4842. That's 855-752-4842. You can text us at that same number. And a blast from the past.
How you doing, Earl?
My good friend, Mr. Stephen Williams, he is the founder of Summons Master. And so, it's good to see you, my friend.
Good to see you.
We go back many years.
Yeah, it seems like time flies very fast, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. I do recall I used to have you on almost every week.
Yeah, that was during the housing crisis.
Yes. Yeah, man, at a different radio station, different time.
Yeah.
But what you bring to the table has always been important information to the average person, and you haven't stopped doing that. Tell us about what founder of Summons, what Summons Master is.
Well, I created Summons Master AI from the work that we've been doing, helping individuals who have been getting sued by debt collectors. Debt collectors right now, from the research that I've been able to gather from the states that are reporting, is that they are running rampant and they're using every tool that is available to them to put a lot of pressure on citizens. And the number one tool is to actually have people arrested. And I know when I say that, and I've talked about it, people just don't believe it because they know that in the United States, we don't have debtors' prisons. And that is true. We don't have debtors' prisons, but the tool or the mechanism that they're utilizing is to have the judge have them in contempt of court. And that is the tool that they're using to have people arrested for debts that they're not paying or answering to.
That's so. So let me see if I have this right. So in America, I'm a citizen who has been paying everything, and I couldn't have debt if at some point in time I didn't have a job or decent credit to wind up with some debt. So now all of a sudden something happens. I can't pay my debt. There used to be a vehicle called, what Donald Trump did a lot. Bankruptcy. So I could file bankruptcy because bankruptcy could kind of give me an opportunity either through Chapter 7 or Chapter 13 to either pay my debts off or either have them wiped out. That used to be an acceptable reality in this country. Is that gone?
It's not gone, but there is a means test. So, for example, if a business decides that, hey, we're going to close up, file bankruptcy, I've witnessed this before. A business can just go into the bankruptcy court, sign off on some documents, show that there's no assets left. They've gotten rid of all of that stuff for the bankruptcy. And it's just, signing some paperwork, walk out of there scot-free. For citizens, for everyday individuals like you and I, we have to go in there and we have to go through a means test. And what's happened with that is, and this was during George Bush 2006, they changed the law. And they said they changed the law because people shouldn't have been filing bankruptcy. They were just doing it to get out of paying people. There could have been people doing that, but for the vast majority, people needed that relief. That's what our country set up for, relief, so you could get a fresh start over. And so with that means test, it's actually put people into a worse situation because, number one, if you don't have that much debt, you're not going to really want to file bankruptcy because you're going to put yourself behind the 8 ball for 2 to 10 years to rebuild yourself. But if you're bankrupt, you got to do it. But the having that means test, it's just made it more difficult for people to utilize bankruptcy to to remedy these types of problems.
If you're just joining us, my guest is the founder of Summons Master AI, my good friend Stephen A. Williams. And so we're talking about so let me try to wrap my arms around this. We live in a society where there are predatory people who can take advantage of the American people with bad deals. Okay, hidden language, small print that takes advantage of the American people. And then when the American people, some wake up and find out that they've been told that even though they don't have the greatest credit, they can get an automobile, and they need an automobile. And so they go and get the automobile, and some predatory person is charging them interest rates that are really outlandish. And now that pushes that American citizen further into debt. And they used to be able to get out of that. Now it is much more difficult a proposition because they're saying, hey, you owe this person all of this money. Never mind that the person took advantage of the person. But
Absolutely.
now they're siding with the person who took advantage of the person, of the citizen, and saying, if you don't pay this debt, I can lock you up. Am I hearing that right?
You're hearing it right. You wrapped it just like a present. This is exactly, it's like a debt cycle. It's like they can never get out of that trap, because if your credit is not good, then you're going to pay more for the same things that people with good credit pay less for. But once a person is in that cycle, it makes it very difficult to get out. And then on the flip side, once they are not able to pay their debts, because that's what will happen, is they're going to start focusing on what they need to do to maintain their household, and they're going to stop paying those debts. That's going to allow those debt collectors or creditors or predator lenders to use the court system to take away to actually take away their income. And it even gets worse. We'll get into it. It even gets worse on what they're allowed to do. We haven't even got into bank accounts and seizing assets yet.
So we're going to get into all of that, because there was a time, Stephen, when this was something just for poor people that they did it to, right? Poor people. And now we're in a society and in a cycle where, people are living paycheck to paycheck, even living in suburbs, right?
Absolutely.
Who own homes, who own expensive homes and all sorts of other things. And now when you couple that with all the government jobs that they're cutting, and now we really got a major problem on our hands, Stephen, and it's one of the reasons why we have you on, because this is the kind of work that you do, and you're also educating people on the rights that they still have, and you're saying they still have some rights.
They have a whole bunch of rights. That's what I want to make people aware of. Have a whole bunch of rights. I knew that you were the right person to bring this to, because you have a great understanding, number one, of how people feel. Like, one of the things that I believe that has not been included when people talk about this stuff is they don't know that having this happen to a family disrupts the certainty of a family. If they're married, it can cause divorce, because not holding up their end, stress, all types of problems can come about from having these issues.
Stephen, these laws that are in place to benefit, the not the debtor, but certainly the people, who they've gotten the credit from or who they owe it to. But these things couldn't happen without elected officials passing the laws to make it possible. The creditor can't do this on his own, right? He can't just all of a sudden decide that he's going to do this. They pass laws that make this possible. Is it safe to say that?
Yes, it's very safe to say that they pass laws. They, what I believe they do is they just do these test cases where they'll approach, a senator or representative, and they try to test the waters on what they could get approved. A good example is our state of Wisconsin. A lot of people are not aware that the max that could be charged on a payday loan is 2,000%. Can you believe that? 2,000% is the max.
2,000%. If you talk about, and I don't get me started on payday lending because I've been opposed to it from the onset. I've always said the places that they have payday lending the most are in central cities where many poor people live and on military bases.
Yes.
Man, and there is a law against predatory lending for individuals, but why is there no law against, we already know what the outcome of that is. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, well, the good side of it, the good thing is that there are laws that help the consumer. It's just that are they gonna, the consumer is busy working, they're taking care of the family, they're doing
Right.
all this other stuff. They don't have the time to get educated on what they can and can't, what a debt collector can and can't do.
Yes.
And so that, and I totally understand that, that people are busy, doing stuff for their family. But I want to make sure that we get to it, that there's plenty of stuff that people can do to fight back.
So we've got a lot to talk about. My guest is Stephen A. Williams, the founder of Summons Master AI. 855-752-4842 on the Earl Ingram Show.
So I don't wanna learn to hold you, touch you. Think that you're mine, because it ain't no joy for an untamed boy.
Okay. right. Welcome back to the Earl Ingram Show. As always, you can join us at 855-752-4842. Text us at that same number. My guest is Mr. Stephen A. Williams. He's the founder of Summons Master AI. You know, Stephen, one of the reasons that I think it's so important that we have you on is you start talking about people being arrested.
Yes.
Come on, man. So what do they gain by if somebody owes you a debt and they're working and you arrest that person and lock them up? They run the risk of losing their job. How is that productive?
Logically, you're right. It doesn't make sense. But their strategy is to use a tool to put pressure on an individual to, at a minimum, answer to the debt. So just so we can be clear, because when I talk about people getting arrested, a lot of people they just like, I can't believe it. We don't live in that type of country. What the tool that they're using, and people can look this up and research it for themselves, is they're having the judges put a contempt of court order on the debtor. So 75% and upwards of 85% reported debt lawsuits end up in a default judgment. That's where the individual either just doesn't show up, they just disregard it. So when the debtor has the opportunity to show up to court to say, hey, I'm either going to pay or I'm not going to pay, basically they just want people to come in and answer. So the tool that they're utilizing is a contempt of court. So there's been reports. There's a young lady that was at the park eating, and she was at work eating lunch. The cops went around, checking the license plates. Have you been parked there too long? And when she got back to her car, they were like, you have a warrant for your arrest. And she said, for what? She said, I don't know what it's for, but when she got downtown, it was over a past debt that she owed that was about $700 and something. Now, they don't keep the person in jail unless they can't get in front of a judge. You know how that works.
Right.
But if you could get in front of a judge right away, they do bring them in. They, answer to the debt, and then they will release them. But who wants to even go through that? That's the thing, is that no one wants to get arrested, because then what's going to happen to your car if you don't have anyone to pick it up, impound it, another expense that you got. And then when you're taken into jail, fingerprinted, all of that stuff, these are things that people just don't want to be going through. It shouldn't be.
And certainly we're not advocating that people have debts and don't pay them.
Absolutely not. No. We're not advocating that at all. But what we're doing, just like a business can reorganize Chapter 11, work out a deal, that type of stuff. What I want to educate people on is that you need to, you got to face up to it and try to figure out a solution. If it's bankruptcy and you qualify, bankruptcy. If it's working out a settlement. And then the ultimate thing is, if it's a debt collector who buys the debt, there are laws on what they must provide to even bring the case. And there was a commission that was put together by a group of judges that, do a lot of pro bono work. And they were showing where a lot of these debt collectors don't even have the documentation to even bring these cases, but they get away with it because people don't know their rights. They don't know what to do, what to say. And most of all, they don't even show up.
Well, because the intimidation, the way laws are written and the way the court systems work, the average citizen doesn't understand legalese. He can't possibly. I mean, if you go to any attorney's office and you look at all of those law books that are up against the wall, law is not something that the average citizen understands.
Absolutely.
And so it's written in a language that we don't understand. And so we're terrified because of what happens. Now, you talked about people buying debt. I want you to go into that, because unless you had we won't talk about predatory kinds of practices. People being able to buy debt and then bring pressures that the original, company that the debt was owed to basically says this is a waste of our time. It's not worth it. We'll write it off.
Yeah. Here's the path. It's kind of scammy on both sides. So the original creditor, if anyone has had a debt go bad, and I include myself in it too, I had to go through my lessons.
Right. So did I.
What they do is they're going to hold it for a period of 6 months and make a decision. But during that 6 months of no payments, guess what's happening? It's just
accruing, right?
Yeah. And what they want to do is if they choose to sell it, and most companies do sell it, even though they sell it for pennies on the dollar, the way that they batch up all of this stuff, they're getting a little bit of money paid back. But this is where the catcher is, and this is going to shock a lot of people. Have you ever received anything in the mail from that was similar to an item that you purchased with your credit card or debit card or anything like that? Like you just all of a sudden get all of these advertisements in the mail.
Right.
Well, what I've learned in over the time of being in this business is that the companies actually can make their money back by selling our information, our data, which is huge right now. They know what we like to buy, and they sell it to other companies for as much as $8 to $10 per name.
Really?
Per company. So let's just say that there's 500 shoe companies out there. They can sell it to each company for $8 to $10, our data.
Now, so again, the American people know nothing about this. And this is done because, again, politricksters have made it possible. 855-752-4842 is the number. My guest is the founder of Summons Master Artificial Intelligence, Mr. Stephen A. Williams, on the Earl Ingram Show.
Mercedes, the mellow, quite a nice fellow. Met 3T, hit a rhyme acapella. They had the rhythm and I had the rhyme. So then I hit it that one more time. It worked out and then they worked it in. Tony has done it again.
Yeah, it feels good. It feels good. It feels good. It feels good. Yeah, it feels good. I feel all in my hands. I feel all in my feet. I feel all in my bones. I
All right.
So you got two. One, I'm gonna have you read the first promo first, and then we'll cut to the second one afterwards.
All right.
We can do it all in the same thing now. All right, let me bring my glasses. I don't know why I was doing this. All right, here we go. All right, gotta hit the record. My bad. All right, go ahead. You're good.
We're excited to welcome Robert Miranda and the Get the Lead Out Coalition for the first hour, followed by Dr. Robert Craig discussing Social Security cuts and more. Stay tuned.
All right, now this part here.
This is 98.3 and 96.5 WISS, home of the Earl Ingram Show on civicmedia.us.
Perfect.
It never rains in Southern California. I'll see you when I get there. I haven't seen your face in a year. I can't wait till I get there. Just to kiss and squeeze and hug and girl, you know the rest, 'cause they tell me it never rains in Southern California. And they tell me it never rains in Southern California. Maybe I'll take the flight out tonight, and you can pick me up about 8. I don't know what airline, girl, but I know we won't be late, 'cause they tell me it never rains in Southern California.
All right, welcome back to the Earl Ingram Show. As always, you can join us at 855-752-4842, 855-752-4842. My guest is Stephen A. Williams, founder of Summons Master AI. Stephen, as you are, fighting and representing people who, there's nowhere else to turn. When they come after you and you're so frightened, and as you mentioned, your family is turned inside out and upside down, and the children and single mothers, man, who already have it difficult enough. People are preying on them. It frustrates me to no end that our nation allows, and Tom from LA said, they used to call it usury, that they allow these kinds of things to go on in this nation. And when we talk about the fact that the change of wealth that's taken place over the last 30 years, where people have become billionaires while the average American has struggled a lot of it can be pointed to these kinds of things, Stephen, where the laws are written to benefit, again, the creditors. And so the Americans, people be damned, we're going to make sure that the creditors can take advantage, and not all, but because there are some good creditors.
Yeah, that's good.
But the fact that there are many that we know, and I think the system knows, are predatory, but yet, they're allowed to continue this attack on the American people.
Yes, and if you would let me, I want to finish out on something about how the companies, before they sell the debt, or even if they choose to sue the individual, the original creditor, how they're actually making money. So we get those documents where they say the terms of services are changing. You need to sign this, and they send that to us, often. Now, I'm about to reveal something that this will shock people. A lot of people don't know that Facebook, TikTok, Google, all of the platforms allow companies to just put the information about what their customers have purchased right into there. And then those ads will start to appear to people on those platforms. Now, it doesn't seem intrusive, because if you like to buy shoes and you're just seeing some more shoes, it's like, hey.
Right.
But the problem is that the company is making money on that. So let's just say you had a credit card debt that you owed $5,000. You need to pay your debts. But if the company made more than $5,000 back, there needs to be some type of transparency, because they're making money selling individuals information to other companies. Now, and so some companies mail out, but all of the companies dump into the platforms and resell the info. So now, once it's sold to a debt collector, these are the things that you need to be aware of. All debt collectors must get a contract to show that you owe them the debt. They must have transfer documents from the original creditor, affidavits, all of the statements from day one. They need to have a bill of sale and transfer. Now, I know that these are like just terms that are thrown out there, but these are very important, because when individuals are empowered with what they must have to even come after them for a debt that they've purchased, that changes the game. That really does change the game. So there's a number of documents that they must get. That would just be like, for starters, to help somebody. And then when people come to me, they'll say, like, Steve, what is the worst that can happen? Because we always want to know what's the worst. Right. So you can kind of game plan on what you're going to do moving forward. Well, this is what I'm seeing. They can garnish your wages up to 25% per paycheck. So you can end up paying them more per month than you were paying the original creditor. They can seize your bank account. I've had a lot of people come to me where they woke up, got an alert from their bank, money was taken, went to their bank, they had a document, a writ of garnishment to take the money directly out of their bank account. Freezing bank accounts. And then the big one that is new, this is another shocker. Seizing assets. Now, let's just say you got two vehicles. Neither one of them are paid off. So you're going to be like, hey, they're not going to mess with that. It's not paid off. This is the strategy that they're using. They'll send an appraiser to look at both vehicles, because you can only keep one. And when they appraise it, if they feel that they can pay it off and then resell it, go take it to Carvana or whatever, and resell it and make a portion of their money back, they'll do it. That's like, when I saw that done, that was like a shocker to me, because that was like one of the protections that people always had. Like, if it's not paid off, they're not going to even bother with it, because it doesn't make any sense. But this is what they're doing. They're just trying to use every tool that's available to them to be able to go after the money. And again, like you said earlier, we're not talking about telling people to not pay their debts. But if you're in a situation, there needs to be relief available and understanding on the other side.
I can't say this enough, Stephen. These these things have been put in place by elected officials. They have decided that the lobbyists, and I talk about this all the time, even when I'm not talking about this subject, the lobbyists have the ear of the people we've elected. And so those people that we've elected make it possible for this to happen. They can't unilaterally do this unless there are laws in place, Steve.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, we just saw what happened with the CFPB, right?
What is that an acronym for?
Consumer Financial Protection Bureau.
Okay.
That was a legitimate organization put in place by President
Oh, yeah,
Obama.
that's right.
Yes. Yeah. Inside of there, they had rules, regulations,
Protections. Yeah.
protections that all debt collectors had to stand by. Before that, debt collectors could send you a letter without telling you you have a right to dispute that debt that they purchased. But the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau has rules, and they must have all of the information on there, giving the individual, telling the individual their rights. Now, it was shut down, and then I think it's back up now. They just kind of chopped the knees out of it. But that organization was really put in place, and it did have some good rules put in place there that even our elected officials were not able to make any changes to.
You know, when you talk about, you spoke of the protections that we have as citizens, and when they come at us and say you owe this debt and those things that you ran off or prattled off, the average person knows nothing about. How can I ask the debt collector, do you have this? Do you have that? So part of what I'm asking you is, the only way you can kind of fight this is through the court system, which you can't afford.
Absolutely. It's like you're already in financial trouble, and then you're gonna go and you're gonna be in more debt to even try to fight. That's actually why I came up with summons master, because my clients were coming to me, they were getting sued. I would send them to an attorney. They were like, it's going to be $2,500 out the gate. And then they would say they're trying to force them into bankruptcy. They're like, I'm not trying to go into bankruptcy. And so I just, took a gamble, because I'm the type of person that's going to try to help people. And I was like, let me help you help yourself in court. And people were winning,
So let me ask you then, because you're one person, are there others like you across the nation that can do the exact same thing? Because you're really a gnat taking on, an elephant.
There's people who can do it, but it takes a lot of time and research. And attorneys don't like doing it because, number one,
not enough money
in it. Exactly.
Right.
You hit it right on there. And it just, my experience with just helping people with court cases, number one, started with my own court cases that I ended up fighting for myself and winning. And then over 5 years of helping my clients with this. Now, you just hit the nail on the head. The demand is huge. I get about 100 people a day asking for help with this stuff. And that's why I ended up creating Summons Master, because I had to train some, it's like I have another one of me that would be able to help people through these types of situations.
So let me, we're at a pivotal point right now. And if you're fortunate enough to not have to deal with these kinds of realities at some point in your life, unless you're, very fortunate, very bright, very smart, everybody's going to go through some financial difficulties. It's part of living, right?
It's part of living.
And you don't escape it unless even you're very wealthy. Even a guy like Donald Trump was as wealthy as he was able got into financial difficulties. It's not something we should hang our head on. It's not something they make you feel as if you're a criminal, as if you've done something outlandish, because things happen in life, as you stated: divorce, death, um, all sorts of different things happen, not to mention laws changing in the middle of the stream after you've already sat down and made some deals with companies, but laws changing that put you behind the eight ball.
Yeah.
Some people unfortunately can't deal with it. Um, they rely on alcohol, they rely on drugs, and there are even times that people take their lives because they have. This
This
is
is
real
serious.
talk.
This is real, Earl. This man, you're the right man for this, because this is real talk. This is stuff that, like, people. If you can imagine an email and you can sense the person is crying typing out the email, this is serious stuff that people go through.
855-752-4842. My guest is the founder of Summons Master AI, Mr. Stephen Williams. Tom, we could come right to you. 855-752-4842. I'll tell you something. There's not any more valuable information than the information that Stephen has given out this morning. 855-752-4842. Stephen Williams on the Earl Ingram Show.
We have so much to talk about, a lot of catching up to do. I'll bring the diamond girl because I'm so into you. Cause they tell me it never rains in Southern California. They tell me it never rains in Southern California. Now since I'm here at your place, let's take a week's trip for two. We don't have to go too far, just as long as I'm with you. Cause they tell me it never rains in Southern California. And they tell me it never rains in Southern California. Can we just be alone without those other strangers calling your phone? Now I don't wanna be that selfish kind of guy, but tonight let me take you on a natural high. Just me and you alone. Now maybe it's cold on the other side of town. It never rains. wash all your troubles away. I'd have the whole world wrapped up in you, darling, and that would be all right. Oh, yes, you will.
All right, welcome back to the Earl Ingram Show. As always, you can join us at 855-752-4842, 855-752-4842. My guest is Mr. Stephen A. Williams, founder of Summons Master AI. Stephen, how can people get in touch with you?
They can go to summonsmaster.com, and it shows how we can help them. Even now, one of the things that I require my employees and myself, what we do is we listen to an individual situation, and if they don't have the resources, we just get them everything, with the knowledge and information so they can help themselves, because we never want to make it tougher for an individual to be able to maintain their household. So the first step is just to, contact us. You tell us what's going on, and we'll tell you exactly what you need to do. And that's no charge. That's what we always do. But if you end up needing the service, they could go to summonsmaster.com and check out the service that's offered.
Okay, I want to go to these phone calls quickly. Tom from LA. Good morning to you, Tom. You say what?
Good morning. First, sir, you are doing God's work. Thank you very much for what you're doing.
Thank you.
It's interesting. When I first learned about this thievery, usury that's going on, I own my own small business, and I had a collection person call me up and say, hey, we know that there's a lot of bad debt in companies, and we can get you 75% of your money back. And I said, well, I have a 94% of my people that pay, so I don't have that problem. But it made me realize that these companies are hiring people like this. They're paying them, that there's got to be a wiggle room to be able to negotiate directly with the company. So my recommendation to people also, besides going to this gentleman, is threaten that you're going to declare bankruptcy to your credit card companies, and then say to them, is there a way that we can negotiate here? Because this is, an issue. And I'll guarantee you they will negotiate something with you.
Hey, Tom, I wish I had more time. Thank you very much for the call. Let's go to CJ. Good morning to you, CJ. You say what?
Good morning, Earl, and your guest.
Well, morning.
Some informative stuff there, and but I think it realizes what a poor job we've done educating our children on finances, because there's ways to stay out of debt, and people put a lot of their wants before their needs, and they don't realize what stuff costs them in the long run.
Yeah, well, CJ, they still shouldn't be taken advantage of. That's the point.
Well, Earl, they owe the money, and
we didn't argue
loan forgiveness.
Hey, CJ, thank you very much for the time. Wish you had more time. Let's go to Mike from Kenosha. Mike, you got the last of it. You say what?
Hey, thanks. Appreciate it. When 70% of the jobs created from 2000 to 2020 did not pay a living wage, I'd say that the whole deck is stacked. 4 people to get in debt, 4 people to get to drown in their debt, and because of our lack of financial literacy, the American people are exposed, and it's just getting worse with the firings of government officials in the IG office, in the accountability office. We have to deal with living wages, and I think that should be a big conversation going forward.
Hey, Mike, thank you very much for the call. So, Stephen, you want to say what to those callers?
Yeah, well, I mean, they all have good points. We do need to understand our, control our spending, get what you need, not what you want. But, but I wish it was that easy. We got 1 million books out there on that.
Right.
It's not really just about that. We live in a society that breeds wanting more. You can get rich. You can have it all. This is America. This is what we live in.
Right.
So, and it's subconsciously put into us from being a child. So yes, we do need to work on those things. But companies can make a lot of money without being predatory. And there could be relief offered because we live in a great enough country that has a lot of resources to be able to say, if you could prove you're in this situation financially, there needs to be a door that you can walk through for relief. It shouldn't just be a trap door of a debt cycle, and then they're coming at you to put threats of your bank account, wage, extreme wage garnishment, 25% per paycheck, or freezing assets. That's what we're talking about. We're not talking about running away from your debts. Now, I want to make sure that anyone that is struggling financially, number one thing you need to do, get your household in order, do your best with that, and contact every one of your creditors. Even if you can't pay them, you just let them know what you're going through. That right there is going to save you a lot of worry, because it's going to give you your power back. When they call you, answer your phone and say, I just don't have it. If I had it, I've been paying you before, and you can see that I don't have it.
Hey, Stephen, I got to bring you back, man.
Okay.
Okay, I'll bring you back, because there's so much, and people certainly need it. Thank you, man. We'll talk soon.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank
Up
you to
next,
everybody.
Jane Madnair, Greg Bach, Madnair on air. See you guys on tomorrow.